Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're not too
You.
loud.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay, so I'm Ashton Tola again. This is
Ifakunle.
also known as
Kanji.
Conjure. And we are coming on tonight to talk to you all a little bit about the Lionsgate portal. The Lionsgate portal 2022.
Right.
So to give you a little background on the Lionsgate, and Lionsgate is super important, essential to
it's
us.
Stamped in our lives, like it's never gonna go anywhere.
Ever.
Right.
You know.
We've been following it for years.
For years now. And we'll get into why we've been following it for years, but just to give you some information about it. Okay. So generally speaking, the Lionsgate portal begins in July, the first week of July, and it lasts all the way up until August the 8th, where the energy is at its peak. So right now, as of today, we're moving into the peak of the Lionsgate portal energy. And so what does that mean? Well, A is when we are in the sign of Leo. Shout out to all the Leos out there in the house. Happy Leo season. Is when we're in the season of Leo and the Sirius star system, which is the brightest star in the sky.
Peace. Also known as Sirius too, so let me throw that out.
When Sirius star system is the brightest star in the sky, is in direct alignment with Earth and Orion's belt. So what that means is that the energy of the Sirius star system, which the mystics, the ancients, understood was the brightest star, also understood that means that the energy is intensified, right? The energy is intensified, the light energy is intensified. From Sirius, from the Sirius star system, from Sirius star. So it is one of the best times for manifestation. It is one of the best times to really
bring things through, like things that you have been intending to manifest. Like it's a potent time of bringing these things through. Like this is what that portal, what that gateway is about.
Yes. And so for us, it is very significant. Because this is actually the weekend that we were married 11 years ago.
11 years ago. Anniversary coming up. But we've been together for how long?
Oh God, 14, something like that.
Years,
14 years, something like that. Yeah. But so we're actually in the energy of our anniversary weekend. And what's really interesting about that is that when we initially decided to get married, we actually thank you. We actually hired an astrologist to look at our compatibility, our synastry charts in astrology, and this is actually the weekend that she chose. So 11 years ago, we didn't understand the significance in the ways that we understand now.
Like why she picked that, that time of year for us to have, our marriage ceremony. So.
Yeah. Right. So over the years, we've been following the energy. We've been really becoming more aware of how it affects us, and how it affects those around us.
The world.
Exactly. Right. And so one of the reasons we want to come on tonight and talk a little bit about Lionsgate, the Lionsgate portal, is because in the beginning of the year, this is what we were talking about. In the beginning of the year, we were talking about, that we would all be experiencing
a
new world in during this Lionsgate portal. You know what I'm saying? I was going into that we were experiencing an ego death that would lead us into a whole new world, but you just jumped ahead of me a little bit. So we wanted to give some information about what it is that is happening. So I'm just gonna share with you all a couple things.
Yeah, we're gonna build on it. So like y'all know, me and Oshantola been talking about a brand new world this whole year. And and to see that manifest in our own personal lives, like we are speaking to you right now from a brand new world.
It's speaking to you from the space of not only a brand new world, but being brand new beings. Like understanding that we've been born again. And that's really something to be really excited about. Like 2022 already, for the majority of people that we've talked to, as well as in our own personal lives has been about this big ego death.
Right.
So we've been experiencing deaths in all kinds of different ways, whether it's people, places, things. All of these things have been situations.
Right.
Yes, we've been, really letting go, releasing,
being forced to,
put in a position that we didn't have a choice but to go through this ego death. And I think that's really interesting just because of the whole Chris Rock and Will Smith thing, because Chris Rock then came out with the his comedy show being the ego death. You know what I'm saying? So right. So now we're in this energy. We understood that this is what we're going through, and now for this Lionsgate portal, we are coming through into the new world as new beings. This is what the whole portal is, as new beings. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna read a little. Go ahead.
It has not been easy, family. Like
it has not been
be
easy.
A part of things dying away. Like it has not been easy. Like being used to living a life a certain kind of way, and like in just about all of that being taken away from you. Like it has not been easy, and it was an attack. Felt like an attack on me.
It was, in a way. Like one of the things about when we experience a death is that we have to understand that everything must fall away. Like there was a period of time that we were reminded that it was important for us to let all the shit burn down. Let it all burn away. You know what I'm saying? And so many of the clients, many of the students have experienced this. I've seen it on Facebook. Many people have been experiencing this ego death. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the way, society has been going and all of these other things. So it's like one of the things that has been a constant is like, when are we going to get through this? When is it going to change? And so the change is now here. Like we are now operating, moving in through this Lionsgate portal, the new earth. But the thing is that we can't bring with us, we could not bring with us those things, those old things, that ego. We could not bring that ego into this newness. We had to be reborn and understand things differently.
All things made new. And like this is all nature. And y'all hear me speak about this, have heard me speak about this many a times, those that are part of the ET family. Like this is a natural process within nature. Like it's called fall, like the fall season. Like this is a part of our experiences, to have the ability to know when it's time to let things fall away and don't fight against that. And the issue is that, like most people try to hold on to things that the universe is taken away from. And so it creates like friction and chaos and all these different things in our life. So, like being able to be put in a place that the choice of even the things that got taken away wasn't even there.
You didn't have a choice. Like
things was just taken away. And then, so facing that.
And then even having to confront yourself in the midst of that. You know what I'm saying? Like all these shadows started coming up out of everywhere. Like, things that, you may have thought that you have already healed from was triggered again. You know what I'm saying? So we had to reconfront these things, and then we had to really sit back and look at ourselves look at ourselves and heal within ourselves. Like this was a deeply personal, sacred time. This ego death was about going within. This ego death was about finding out who you are at the core of who you are.
Allowing too.
It was about allowing. Trust.
Trust.
Trusting. Trusting the ancestors, trusting the universe. Trusting that you already have everything you need, even though everything around you is shifting, it's changing.
And trusting that the universe and our elevated ancestors always have our best interests at heart. Like being able to really be in that place of following spirits, because we so used to being out front, like the flesh, like the ego, like so used to being out front, thinking that we, that it has the answer for everything. And and in most cases, like the ego, like it trips us up. It trips us up on our journey. So being put in that place where like you were being trained to trust and follow spirit, like. It has been like, like this was a real experience.
It has
getting to this point was real, yo.
Like
we felt so many things, like.
And then it was like you had to also confront like the ways you would normally have dealt with these things as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it could have been in the past, you could see yourself flipping out, and then now it's like, no, it's not no need to flip out. Let me find a way to be silent.
Don't have no opinion.
Don't have no opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Trust spirit.
Right. Exactly. So I just want to, you know, give you all a little bit about what it is that we understand is going on. So we are standing on the cusp of a great change. You may say that this has been so for many years, and indeed, you would be right, as the path of transformation and ascension has unfolded before you. Right. But at this moment, at this time of the Lionsgate portal in 2021, we were truly entering into an accelerated time of transformation that will take us into 2022, and that will only culminate in 2022. Right. It is the time when we are releasing the last vestiges of the old and fully activating the soul embodiment process, which is the primary aim of the ascension process. As this completes your embodied light, embodied spirit, fearlessly living out the path of creative love, that is your destiny when you chose to incarnate into the physical form. So again, if you have, you know, if you've been on this journey for some time, you know, we've been hearing about these energies, this grand transformation for some time now. We came into the age of knowing back in 2012. And so we've been hearing about these big transformations, and we've been following along and being guided by these energies for quite some time now. But then in 2021, that energy amplified. Right. It amplified, that transformational process amplified. So what's interesting is during that time last year, 2021, we were renewing our vows during this time. So what actually happened was at the beginning of last year, we had no idea what it was, how things were going to play out. However, we decided to renew our vows on the sacred ceremonial land, which we met
of our ancient ancestors.
What we've come to find out over time was our ancient ancestors, literally. And so, you know, we went to the land and we only invited 4 people. It was me and him, and then our Ia and our Babalawo to officiate the ceremony. And of course, it was beautiful. Right, of course, the ancestors showed up. Of course, all of those things.
And the messages came through.
came
through about our purpose of being together. Like what we are here to accomplish. Like we was given a vision. Like we was given a focus. Like we was given more of an understanding of who it is we are together. We was given all of that during that time. All of that came through the Lionsgate. And then we was also given, what's the right word? Like we was also given the Ashe to accomplish certain things in life. Like we was,
it was really one of those things that the ancestors
given blessings.
Yeah, the ancestors really started to show us what it was that they had in alignment with what it was they wanted us to do as we continue to move forward during that Lionsgate portal. And it was a whole,
I mean, just in life, like in life, like what we're here to do.
I'm saying that's what we gained through it for life. You know what I'm saying? How our destinies have expanded, how our destinies and our purpose is to really harness the voice of the ancient ones. Right. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, we are here for community. Like, we are here to help give birth to that. Like, that is the reason we are together. Like, we are here to assist those that are heading into the new world as well.
Absolutely.
We're here for that. Like, we are together for that. Like, this is our mission together.
Yeah, absolutely. And with him saying that, you know, in addition to for community, it's about community really understanding how important it is that we truly start to embrace the ways of the ancient ancestors, start to embrace our culture, the time of being afraid of our ancient ways, our ancient practices, our traditions, it's over.
About
That
the
was
family.
part of the ego death, leaving the ego, allowing the ego to die so that spirit can really truly lead.
Right. So, like just being a vessel to be guided in that kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In this ancient way, and this way that will bring healing to us. And so, like, this is our mission. Like, this is our purpose together. And so, you know, read what you're gonna read about the Lions Gate. But I wanted to add into what she was saying. Like, another reason why this is so important, because like we all know, like even in the scriptures, it say as above, so below. Like, and this is one thing that our ancestors understood, that the heavens foretold what was gonna happen on earth.
Yes.
So this is a time of the Lions Gate. So what would the ancients do? They will be fully aware of what this energy, this alignment, this gateway, this portal opening was about. And this is the understanding that we have to come back into. Like, what is this about? This, like, we're reading and we're explaining what this is about. It's about new beginnings. It's about being able to experience a whole nother reality, a whole nother world. If we take advantage of this time,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to get back into taking advantage of these sacred times on earth that's happening in heaven, so we can reap the benefits that we're supposed to be reaping right now.
The ancient ones used to celebrate this time because it was a time when the Nile would rise. And they recognized this time as a time of abundance, as a time of, the renewing. Like, they understood that the Lionsgate portal represented allowing the old to die and coming into the new, and they will be celebrating. They will be in festival for this time. I just want to read a little bit more to you all. The Lionsgate portal is guarded by two of the royal Syrian lions, who are known as the lions of yesterday and tomorrow in the sacred text. They are the gatekeepers that ensure that only those who are guarded in the present moment and conscious of their path are able to transit through the portal and create another cycle of life in a conscious way. They are not only guardians, but also teachers who work with the angels and archangels to guide those who are ready in their journey of awakening and creation. Each one of you who reads this, that's us, has the ability to make this conscious transit, for you would not have been drawn to these words otherwise. This is a powerful time, and indeed you are being called to enter into your full power as masters of light and creation, embodied souls in the human angelic body. In the next 2 years, we'll be closing off a cycle of spiritual growth and transformation that began in 1999 and culminates in 2022. This is where we're at. We're at that, like, we have done the work. I want y'all to see, like, we have done the work to come through this portal. This is the archetypal journey of the seekers, as it was known to the ancient, following a path of symbols that release their power and wisdom to those whose hearts and souls were open to the process. In 2021, the focus of the journey was on the energy of the divine feminine as a spiritual leader and teacher, for it is the divine feminine that sets the tone for creation in this millennium, that is dominated by the frequency of the number 2, which is a spiritual frequency. Together, these number frequencies serve to empower the divine feminine in its role of leadership and creation for the new earth, while also empowering the rise of the new masculine for the new earth. 2021 brings a new energy and the germination of a new seed that will be danced into manifestation by the divine feminine and her dance of creation as she births a new cycle for the new earth. At the same time, the new divine masculine will be fully grounded in the earth and will express his energies as empowerment and manifest creation and the birthing of new communities of light for the new earth. Know that this cycle of your life will be immensely powerful and creative. You will birth and dance into creation all that you desire. If your focus and intention are clear, and if you surrender to the flow of the divine creative intelligence and allow the process of germination and birth on a spiritual level, a complete embodiment of the soul, completing this phase of ascension with celebration. Are we celebrating?
Now was the time.
Are we celebrating? We know that we've been in this cocoon. We know we felt ourselves transformed into slush,
Right.
to the point that we didn't
Being
even know
broke
who we were
down in
anymore.
every kind of way, yo.
We recognized as the cocoon started to break open and we started to look around like, what is this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What is this new world?
What is this new world? Like literally living that out. And I know we're not the only ones that have been having this experience, like of this death and this rebirth. But we have to understand, like, on what grand of a scale this is truly on. Like, this ain't just something to sit back and like, yeah, I had a rough year. Like, you know, like this year was rough. Like, this is to understand what the universe is doing, being in harmony with that and what's really being called for on earth, and being in tune with it, and accomplishing it, and knowing that we have all the support that we need. Like, it's the new earth is now. It's now, but it has to be something that we live out on earth. It has to be something that we physically give birth to, bringing heaven to earth. This is what our ancestors always done. This is why they lined pyramids with different star systems within Egypt. They was literally bringing heaven to earth. So even though we get in this good news of what's happening in the heavens, we have to manifest it on earth too, so it can be complete.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to complete that on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the mind state that we are in. Like me and Ocean Tola is in right now. Like, it's just not something that we read and it sounds beautiful. Like, this is a mission to be accomplished, a mission that we are dedicating our life to on earth. Like, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. And so we're just sharing with y'all where we're at on our journey. And those of us that know us, y'all know that we are at exactly where we are saying we are at right now on our own personal journey and our own personal lives. You know, we've been sharing it with you. Mm-hmm. We've been, you know, like we've been sharing it with you. So, like, you know, this is not something that we're just jumping on here trying to take advantage of something, but we are sharing with you our story.
The focus on the personal level for this cycle will be the completion of the embodiment of the soul process that begun in 2019 to 2021. Mm-hmm. In this past cycle, you were enabled to activate the original DNA template for the divine human. Mm-hmm. This created the space for the soul to fully descend into the body and complete this phase of ascension of consciousness. This was by no means an easy process, for it involved deep healing and releasing of all old patterns of thought and belief that were not congruent with the frequency of the soul. In other words, the ego needed to release all and any behaviors and beliefs that were blocking the soul from fully expressing its energies within the human experience.
Right. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
We are engaged in an intense process of purging and cleansing on the emotional, mental and physical levels. So intense was the process that many of us felt as if we could go no further. But rest assured, this process has reached its culmination. And this coming cycle, the soul will be able to enter fully into the sacred union of body and soul. They will begin to live as one. There will be no differences between body and soul, and the body will be clear to express the creative energy of the soul. This will usher in a time of great inner peace and harmony that will gradually begin to reflect and be reflected in the outer world as more and more light workers and way showers complete the process. You see what I'm saying? Like, we had to go through what we had to go through, like it was purposeful. So many times when we go through things, we think like it's just me. We isolate ourselves. Well, this was the time for solitude. I don't want to say isolation. It was a time of solitude, but then we start to think something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You're exactly where you were supposed to be. Then you're exactly where you was supposed to be going through.
But we have to understand and know that this is a cosmic, universal event, but we know that we are universal beings now. Like, everyone on this call know that we are universal beings now. Like, we all know that we are here with the universe. Like, we all know that we are here with nature. We all know that man now is being governed by laws that truly don't have anything to do with them. Like, we know that we are being guided by a system that is not in no way, shape, or form explaining to us what's truly going on here on earth. Like we understand this. And so once we can break free of that and then possess the mind that we truly should be possessing, this cosmic, this universal mind, this universal way of being, and being able to be in tune with this universe in the way that we are here to be in tune with it, we'll be making this quantum leap. What, you know, like what this line gate is explaining. Like that's what we'll be thinking right now. It won't be on no surface level.
Which is very interesting, because we will very soon know that everything you do will be an expression of the soul and divine creation. Just like Chandra said,
right.
You will be able to feel within your body when your soul is dancing in the light, or whether it is uncomfortable with your choices because they are not in harmony with your life plan.
Right.
Then you will be gently guided to new choices that are more in harmony. And so you will move forward on your journey, creating only abundance, peace, and joy in the new earth reality.
Yes, higher choices that can only come from higher understanding of who it is that we truly are. I know everyone on this call, once again, know that we are like, you know, like we here with this universe, like all the things that we done learned. The body is made of atoms. Atoms is nothing but energy. We are just vibrating at this, you know, like this level of being condensed right now. But we can raise our own personal vibration. Like these are all the things that we know.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So we have to raise our self-awareness to that level as well. Like what has happened on earth, like earth has been disconnected from the heavens above. This is why we have lost our way and became lost souls, because we are no longer connected to the heavens above. Like it's been a split. It's been a split, but the two must become one. That will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We have to get back to that understanding. And the only thing Ocean Tola is reading right now is what's going on in heaven right now. So if that's what's going on in heaven right now, what's supposed to be going on earth? Like, how can we be thinking any differently? It's time for a new world. It's time for a new experience. It's time to be born again with a higher awareness of who it is we truly are, and then manifest that reality on earth. Bring heaven to earth. This is what we are here for. Instead of all of this madness that's occupying the earth right now, that don't got anything to do with the heavens above. You know what I mean? Like we have to, we have to become one. Like this is saying, and this is not just talking about oneness between me and someone else. We're talking about the oneness of the universe, yo. That's the oneness.
The process of activating the divine human template and infusing it with divine diamond light will also be made manifested on the collective level of consciousness. Here you will see and feel old patterns of communal living and existing, giving way to new ideas of community and new ways of being and sharing resources. As communities, you will be also as communities, you will also be releasing old ego and mind-dominated patterns to make way for more soul-infused ways of being and interacting. Many of us will feel called to initiate new forms of community as part of our soul mission to activate the sacred energy of earth, and some will be guided to assist transforming communities that already exist by infusing them with the soul light of the divine feminine and the new masculine. In this cycle, there will be increased levels of what we call ancestral healing on the individual and community and even the national level, as all that belongs to mind and ego begins to give way to the structures based on heart, soul, and compassionate love. The past and the future will be changed forever as you focus into this cycle and make the changes that will determine this timeline. Cycle of 2019 to 2021 will be the one that changes everything and creates the goals and future that you seek to create and experience.
Family, how is that not true?
Come on now.
Everyone on this call understand that we are one. We are all sharing in the same spirits of life. The spirit of life pervades this universe, and we are all sharing in it. We are all different expressions of one another. How can it not be community? Like, how can it not be love? Like, how can we not be living in a way that we are there to support one another, because we understand that we are one? How does the saying go? I am because
we are.
I am because we are. I exist because you exist. Like, with that level of understanding, like, yo, we have to wake up. Like, we have to break this spell that we have been under. Like, we have to, you know, wipe whatever that's in our
Sleep out your
eyes, like
eyes.
wipe it out of our eyes and begin
Wake
to
up of that
see this
amnesia.
reality and see each other for what it truly is.
Mhm.
And it's really not hard. It's really not hard when we just understand, like we sharing, like simply, like we sharing in the same spirit of life right now. Like we are breathing this same breath in right now. You know what I mean? Like we are one. We are one. We are the creator expressing itself in as many different things. So that's community right there. And we know that we have been divided and then conquered. Like these are things that we know just from understanding our history. We were divided to be conquered, but that's not the ancient way. Like that's not our ancient culture. That's not the ancient way that we lived on earth. We live as communal people. It's really a global empire, a global family. The national ancestors.
What does this mean for the new Earth way showers? This
All of us.
Which is us. This is what we were talking about, us. What does it mean for us? This will not be an easy time for you as the chaos and storms around you continue to fuel the fires of transformation and change. But we know that as your soul becomes more of who you are and is expressed as who you are, you will more confident of your path forward and of your ability to create what you desire. Always remember who you are and what you came to earth to create and experience as a soul and a being of infinite light and energy.
Well, you know what? That's hard to do because it's so many distractions that they're placing in front of us. Like it's so many different, missions and agendas that we get put on that don't have anything to do with who it is that we truly are. They don't have anything to do with who it is that we truly are, to keep us distracted from knowing and understanding who it is that we are, so then we can accomplish the work that we truly came here to accomplish. Like they don't want that.
Nah.
This system don't want that. Like this is why so much distraction everywhere. Like this is why they want to keep you just focused on this reality, this system in front of you and around you, and not looking up to understand yourself as a heavenly being as well. Just knowing yourself as flesh and not spirit. Everything here caters to the flesh.
And so
it caters to the flesh.
It's just going on what he's saying. Everything he say it before
spirit.
I can say it. That's the problem. I feel like I'm repeating what he's saying. Never forget how blessed you are to hold this awareness and consciousness. Right. Never forget how blessed we are to hold this awareness and this consciousness. While so many live in confusion and struggle with only the fearful ego to guide them.
Right.
Whatever literal and emotional storms may rage around you, hold inner peace and stay grounded. Right. Remember that as embodied souls and divine humans, you live from the inside outwards, not from the outside in. This simply means that whatever happens in the outside of you, you know that within you is a place of peace, safety, abundance, and love. Don't give your power to drama, to fear, and lack, but focus simply on your passion and what you want to create and experience on earth as a divine blessing. At this time in this cycle, there are two versions of earth that coexist. Come on now, listen. The multidimensional new earth and the lower dimensional alternate earth, since the third dimensional earth no longer exists. Part of the chaos you experience is the shifting between dimensions, which for most people is unconscious and random. But for you who are gathering experience with the guidance of your soul, you are learning to move between dimensions and indeed between worlds and timelines with grace and elegance and without trauma and drama.
Right.
This will also be a time when we will need to care for our bodies. It is now the sacred temple of your soul, and it will take a while for the body to adjust to the higher frequencies and awarenesses that come with being infused with soul perceptions and feelings. The body may feel exhausted as it has run these intense frequencies and deal with intense experiences that are far more powerful than anything that the old ego mind could create. The key here is always surrender, relax, and allow soul and higher self to be your support and to create the miracles that will take you forward into new levels of love, experience, joy, when your body accepts and acclimates to these intense and powerful flows of energy from the soul.
And let me just say this. Like this is a universal lesson. Like me and Oshintola then explained within, ET class that, You know, like it's the school system is set up in the exact same way. You know what I mean? The elementary school, like the first thing that we have to do is like when we come here is to understand ourselves, like our earth, the surroundings, like the elements of who it is that we are, earth, air, fire, and water. And once you gain that understanding, you transition into what they call a high school. And so this is understanding the higher nature of who it is that you are, coming into that level of self-awareness, infusing spirit into the life that you live on earth. And after you get that lesson, you elevate up into what they call the university. You go off into the university, or you go off into the universe. So this right here is the cosmic what they call the people that teach university. What your dad, like what your dad is? Professor. Like this is the cosmic professor. This is the information, you know what I mean, of him. Like this is what is being taught in the class now, to understand what's going on with us on a cosmic level, to understand what's happening within the cosmos, and be able to adjust our life according to that as well, to be able to retain that level of information too. But everybody's not going to be able to retain it.
Yes.
It's going to be too much for some. But it ain't gonna be too much for everyone. It's not too much for us. Like, and everyone that's on this call right now, we are retaining this. We are making this a part of our life on earth right now. You know what I'm saying? We are passing this class. This is universal information. What this is talking about.
Be awake, be aware, be empowered. We are the shift in human form. This is what we came here to experience.
Right.
We wish you joy as you transit the Lion's Gate. The angelic realms are here to support you. The galactic teachers are here to guide you. The masters hold the energy of those who have opened the path for us. We need simply make the choice and focus on the intention as we create the dream. Right. The future is ours, and it is now.
Right.
Ashe.
So, like, what do we think? Do we think that society and life is just going to keep revolving around with this same experience of life that we've always been having since we've been here? Like, we think that it's going to remain like this within this infinite universe? The way that society is set up, like what we think is real, like what we think is life, or what life is about, the things that an average person get up each day to strive to accomplish, that don't have anything to do with who it is they truly are, creating this false reality, these illusions that we live in. What do we think is going to remain like this? That the universe is just going to sit back and just let this be? No, it's going to be a shift. It has been a shift. It's going to be an awakening, because like what we have been dumbed down as a people. Like we have been put in darkness as a people.
Let me say this real quick. Let me just say this. So one of the things that I feel like is very necessary for us as a people to understand is that the great tragedy, Ma'afa, was the catalyst to conditioning us into a way of life that is foreign to us. So, and my reason for saying that is because a lot of times we hear that all cultures had slaves. The difference between all cultures having slaves and what happened in the Great Tragedy is that slaves was actually like indentured servants, meaning that after a certain amount of time spent in service, you would be working towards that freedom. That's one. And yes, in indigenous cultures. Two, not only that, but even in your indentured servitude, you were able to practice the culture of which you have come from. So in the Ma'afa, in the Great Tragedy, that was ripped away from us. What was ripped away from us was our culture. What was ripped away from us was our spiritual traditions, and something else foreign to us was given to us. And now we are continuously perpetuating this way of life, not
own detriment,
trying to get something new from the same behaviors that have always been.
Right.
That's the definition of insanity.
And this is what this rebirth is about. It's about rebirthing this ancient mind state of who it is that we truly are, and the way that we truly supposed to be living life on earth.
We expect for something to be different by our oppressors, and that is ridiculous. Like, we can no longer rely on the ways of our oppressors to be able to grow into what it is that we are truly here to grow into. When we're talking about oneness, we're talking about oneness with nature. We're talking about oneness with earth. We're talking about oneness with the universe. We're talking about oneness with our ancestors.
And I done said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Like, we are all seeds in a garden. Like, this is Mother Nature. Like, this planet is a garden. And so when they took us away from our culture and our traditions, they uprooted us because we understand that our history is our roots.
Yes.
And so we were uprooted as people here, but we are only seeds growing in a garden. So what happens to anything that you uproot? It's going to wither and die. So this is why it's so important for us to reconnect with our root system, which is our ancient ancestors.
Absolutely.
That ancient way of living life on earth. Like, we know what the root system does for anything that grows. Like, this is what whatever is growing pulls its nutrients in and just whatever it needs within itself in order to be strong. It ain't no different from us. Like, we have to reconnect in this same kind of way because we all just trees growing, living within earth that has this same root system that everything else has. And so, like, we are being affected in the same kind of way that anything that is uprooted will be affected. This is what you see in our people.
And so when we're talking about community building, what we're saying first and foremost, like, you can't build community if you can't build yourself. If you don't know where you come from, you can't build community. If you're afraid of your ancient ways of practicing tradition, then you cannot build community. One thing cannot happen without the other. You have to understand who your ancestors are. You need to understand your culture. You have to put it all together in order for oneness to truly take place.
It's called mending the broken calabash. We have to be able to put the pieces back together because we have been broken apart. Like these are all facts. Like these are things that everyone listening right now knows. Like, y'all know that we ain't just pulling this out of the sky. This is what has happened to us on earth.
Your grandmother, your great grandmother, all the way 400 plus years back has been lied to. They have been raped. They have been killed. They have been, every broken atrocity apart that you can possibly think that could happen to a culture of people that has happened to our ancestors.
And that fell on us.
And we are here to heal the generational traumas of 400 years. But that can't happen if we're afraid to get into the traditions of those people who made these great heights.
Those people who we are. Like, this is who we are.
Of those people that left information here for us to remember who we are. You know what I'm saying? As we awaken from this amnesia that we're in, they have left these things here, and we're afraid to get back into those traditions. Then how are we ever going to build true community? How are we going to make new earth different from what old earth has already been?
How are we going to see one another for who it is that we truly are? Like, how are we going to know how to treat and interact with each other unless we understand these things? Like, this is about the rebuilding of community. The rebuilding of community, but not just like we're talking about an ancient community. Like, this is the return of the ancient ones. Like, this is what we're talking about. So when they look back,
the ancient
ones, they look back and say, what happened to these ancient people? Well, these ancient people are going to be reborn before the eyes of everyone on planet Earth. It's us.
Yes.
It's us. We are the return of the ancient ones, but it has to be something that we give birth to on earth. It can't just be something that we always sitting back talking about or imagining, but not willing to put the work in to give birth to it.
A lot of time when we think about manifestation, we still think about manifestation in the ways of the society of which we've been oppressed in. We're not thinking about manifestation in the ways of what our ancient ancestors wanted.
Still want.
Still are requiring of us now in this new earth, of requiring what it is from us that it is for us to do now.
And look, the scriptures tell you many have been called, but only a few have been chosen. Like, this is what's happening all over the world. Like, even if a person knows it or not, like me and Ocean Solar can tell you, this is what's happening all over the world. Many have been called, but few have been chosen. Who is going to stand up as chosen ones? Like, who is going to identify themselves as a chosen one?
Absolutely.
Because this is happening.
And see, one of the things that we're not ready to talk about as a community is being accountable for ourselves and being accountable for each other. and being able to have those hard conversations and not allowing those conversations to separate us, but to bring us closer. We have to be accountable to each other.
Right.
You have to.
Because we are one.
I'm telling you, and it's important. And there's things that have to be done. There's things that has to be done. Absolutely, you have to be accountable for the work that you are meant to do. You have to be,
because we all come here to play a part. Like we all come here to play our part. And so if someone doesn't play their part and is not willing to play that part, then you make yourself a liability. Like you're no longer an asset anymore.
Yo, me and Conjure just went through this beautiful process, right? Back in for the summer solstice, we went through this beautiful ceremony. And in this ceremony, what we got to witness is community. What we got to witness is that how important it is for everybody to show up and do what it is that they are to show up to do. Letting that ego fall to the side in order for the work to be done.
All is needed.
Everybody is needed. There's nobody, there's no person, there's no role that is not needed. And when we're talking about building community, and so because you know your role is needed, you have to be accountable to show up to do the work that your role requires of you at that point of time.
We're talking about on a divine level, on a self-aware level, on a cosmic level, on a awakened level. Like we are not asleep anymore. We're not asleep anymore. None of us are asleep anymore. Like we have learned too much. We done seen too much. We experienced too much. Like we're becoming present here. We're looking around, putting it all together. We have gained the understanding. Yo, we are here with this universe, yo. We have gained the understanding that we are sharing in the same spirit. We are one. Like we know what has happened to our ancestors. Like we know these things.
And then so
we understand the work though.
And I want to just make sure I add this too. Like in this journey, that one of the things that Conjure and I stand true to is that we never tell anybody to do anything that we haven't experienced for ourselves first.
True indeed.
And so one of the things that we have been doing is learning about these African traditional religions. Our path is Orisha worship, or also known as Ifa and Yoruba. Absolutely. In that journey, the beautiful thing about that journey is that it connected us back to the our ancient ancestors. We learned about who they were and their highest of heights. We learned about why they fell, and we have been doing the work to heal, to repair the lineage, because that's what is needed. That's what is needed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is, it is time for you to start that journey. It is time for you to start that, and it's so deeply personal.
Yes.
Let me just say that, like, it's so deep. It heals you in a way that cannot be fully expressed with words, because it's so deeply personal. It's your people that we're talking about. We're not talking about some deity way off, you know, that you never knew nothing about. We're talking about your DNA, your blood, your spirit, where your soul comes from. You know what I'm saying? Your entire being. What is this root? Who is this tree that's connected to this root system? And what work needs to be done to heal so this root system could continue to grow?
And then the tree can grow, blossom, and bloom and bear its fruit. Like this is what we're here for. Like everything else is a distraction. Like we are here for ancestral work, family.
Period.
We are here to heal the bloodline.
Period.
Overcome traumas, put the broken calabash back together. Free ancestors that have been trapped in misery and pain and suffering.
Facts.
Bringing honor back to our names.
Facts.
Like this is this is the mission. This is the goal. Like everything else is a distraction. This is the work. It's a universal work.
This is the work.
It's a divine work, because our ancestors are divine beings. Like we are all divine beings. Like we are all manifestations of this universe. You know what I mean? Like we are all gods and goddesses, whatever words you want to put on it. Like this is the cosmic work, the universal work that we are here to do, that we have been distracted from.
We want something.
But that time is over.
We want something. We're in this new earth. We're in this new earth.
Right. We have been
rebirthed. We have been rebirthed again. You know what I'm saying?
We have been invited in.
The ancients walk again.
Yes.
The ancients walk again.
They have returned and still are returning to planet Earth. You shall soon see. This is what we know. This is what so many all around the world know.
And so my thing is that, you know, start doing your research, investigate the ACRs, investigate the ways of the ancient cultures, the indigenous cultures.
Let the ancient live.
Go to your own
again, resurrect
ancestors.
them.
Ask them to guide you towards who it is that should be your guides. Ask them who should be your guides in this. As far as Conjure and I are concerned,
We have our guides.
as far as Conjure and
Right.
I are concerned, what you are going to see from us is a completely different
Right.
energy. We are moving in the ways of the ancient. We are
just waiting
moving,
to be
being
released.
guided by our ancestors. This is the way we are moving now. What you can
We just wait
expect
to be released
from us is more information about what it looks like for us to have loving, intimate relationships based on indigenous ways of life. You should be looking to see how we can utilize the ways of the ancients in our family life. What does that mean? How do we begin life? Because at the end of the day, you're first, then it's your partner, then it's your family, or if you don't have a partner, then it's your family, your children, and then that grows. It goes from out of your home out into, it grows. It has to be internal and grow outwardly.
Right.
It has to be internal.
You have to
so
understand this inside of yourself.
First and foremost,
it's most important to understand this inside of yourself.
See how that works within your partnership, because truth be told, the masculine and the feminine is supposed to complement each other.
And even if you don't have a so-called partner, you are your partner. We all have these two extremes, these two polarities within us. So this is about inner peace at the end of the day. So we can have outer peace within these communities.
And see, this is what we're talking about. We're taking the steps now. The etheric touch was like the first step to start to begin to know who it is you are as a person, as your inner soul person.
But hasn't the etheric touch been a beautiful journey, family? Shay, right? Like how many lives have etheric touch touched and helped to transform? Like this has been a beautiful energy. Like don't look at me and Ocean Solar like we have just been vessels of this cosmic energy that we have been trying to express the best that we can. But wasn't it a beautiful healing energy?
The etheric touch started the journey of that discovery, the exploration of self, the exploration and discovery of our ancestors, starting to peer into our shadow work. That's what the etheric touch gave. And now the ancestors has charged Conjure and I to continue to move forward. And that's in intimacy, that's in relationships, that's in family. This is building community.
The revolution of the mind. Returning to the indigenous mind state. Rebirthing these ancient ones to the actions that we take on earth, like the way that we live our lives, allowing that ancient spirit to return again so we can heal this land.
Absolutely. That's what we come in. So as you know, these next few months of 2022, you know, continue to unfold. You'll start seeing different things changing. You know what I'm saying? You'll see we are rebranding. Right. You know, we are recreating.
World,
We are moving in the flow of what the new earth is doing. We are moving in the flow of what these resurrected ancestors are doing. This is what our energy is. This is what we are about.
Nothing else. This is what
this is what you can expect.
Else.
You know what I'm saying?
This is our soul mission and journey.
This is what we want to give to you all for our anniversary for the Lionsgate portal. We want to give to y'all a new charge. We want to give to you all a new perception of what can be and where you see yourselves playing your part in this new earth. What are we birthing now?
And then also giving y'all a glimpse into the new beings that we are right now, because as soon as we release, we get ready to go. Like we still on a little hole right now. But as soon as we get to go, like you're gonna see more of these new beings that we are right now. Like we are new beings.
We all are.
This present moment.
And so what we want to do is be able to assist as usual in this in the newness, operate, because at the end of the day, the only thing that really is happening is love here on planet Earth. What only thing is really happening is oneness. And we are being charged to bring us all back together again with the proper state of mind. Everybody being able to be accountable for themselves. That's true sovereignty. It's when you're accountable to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And being accountable to yourself means you'll be accountable to your community.
Your brother and to your sister.
Facts. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? To the family, because that's what we all are. We are family. Like, yo, and whatever this illness is that's keeping us from looking at one another and recognizing and knowing that, like, we get ready to cure ourselves from that. Like, that has been cured. What am I saying? All right?
Yeah, you cured.
The cure. Mm-hmm. Whatever that sickness is, that's keeping us from looking at each other and not seeing ourselves clearly.
I think what we're gonna see now, because we're in New Earth, is more and more of us seeing clearly. I think that we are coming back into our indigenous minds. I think more and more people are becoming less and less afraid of their indigenous cultural practices, and they're going to be investigating it.
Because we have been taught to fear who it is we truly are.
I think we're moving past our fears. I think we're moving past our fears. I think we're ready to embrace. And so I encourage you all, like I said, to research, to discover, to explore. You know what I'm saying? The ways of the indigenous people of this planet, of our African ancestors,
and to start the journey of doing the work. Own broken calabash.
Start doing the work.
Know who you have always been, to know who you are right now. Mending that broken calabash that we have all experienced within our families. That breaking apart, putting that back together again.
And I'm excited. I'm really excited about Lionsgate, because I anticipate so many of you ready to stand up in your power, stand up in your knowing, stand up and do the work,
wake up,
of healing these generational traumas, so that we can create heaven on earth. Okay,
that's the mission. Heaven on earth. So, and like I say, like, this is a brief introduction, but as time moves forward, like, we're going to reveal to you more of who we are in this moment. We're going to teach more. We're going to teach differently. New information is coming.
Yes.
So get ready for
all of that.
Get ready for that.
We love you, and we look forward to, this new way of being, this newness. We'll see you on the other side of the portal.
Right.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.